It's a one-on-one.
Glued to them screens, it's a plot to drop the IQ. Fighting amongst each other over rumors that don't like you. Prefer us trapped in melancholy with the wood ones of holly. Suggestions that obliterate to camouflage the folly. Attempted mental robbery, executed sloppily. The pomp proceed is mockery and walk the talk with me. Put the hands up to touch the Akasha, cause you know deep down there's something bigger than your wallet.
Sweet eternal balance of all that is good, true, and beautiful, friends. I think you'll quickly notice that James True is not here right now. He was supposed to be, he was going to be. I'm not sure what happened. I hope he's okay. Probably just a slip of the memory, and the calendar is all that happened. And let's hope that that is true, because James is an amazing human and we need more of him in the world. So James, hope you're well, and we'll do it again some other time. But I have something else for anybody who wants to participate and play along. First of all, I want to congratulate a big fan of the show, a big supporter, Ryan Peterson. He won the painting that I had been showing and that people had been entering to win. So congratulations, Ryan. I sent that off a few days ago. I hope you enjoy it for many years to come. That was a painting by Nick Klein that had been donated to the show to help support it. So that was a lot of fun to have people participate in that contest and win something. I had also sent off a book previously to the winner of another contest, and that is my first fictional novel, Sine Curve of Aeons. And so I just got another shipment in of these, and so I want to offer them. If you go on Amazon, you can purchase them for $15, but then you have to also pay shipping. So I can get them a tiny bit cheaper than you can, and I got a shipment of them so that I could offer them to you. I'm still going to charge $15 because I have to pay to ship them to you, but you get a few dollars off, like $4 or $5 off, because you won't have to add shipping, and I will inscribe it to you or to whoever you would like it to be inscribed to, and give you a little note. Especially if I know you personally at all, I will make it personalized. And even if I don't know you, I will make it inspirational and some words of wisdom from me. So Sine Curve of Aeons on special now. If you want to do that, you're going to go to my PayPal. That's paypal.me/Corey Sharman. And Corey Sharman is QUORRISCHARMYN. You can also find that on the site Rogue Ways if you go to any of the donate buttons for PayPal. And you can also email me at CoreySharman@gmail.com if you would rather do it that way. We can set up some other way of payment, but that's $15. So just leave a note that it's for the book, and please do it as a gift to friends and family. I'm a very trustworthy, good person. I even had someone donate a lot of money to the upcoming event that's this summer solstice that I'm putting together. And when I thought it wasn't going to happen, I gave it back to them. It was a good sizable amount of money. So I'm very honest, so you can trust me. But if you'd like a copy of the book signed to you, then that's how you'll do that, through PayPal. And if you go to the site, rogueways.org, pretty simple, then you can also see my poetry and some other things that I write besides novels. I write a lot of nonfiction, ponderings and meanderings through various things, especially AI and other things that I've been fascinated with for years. So you can go there and check that stuff out. And I also offer tarot readings to anybody who's interested in that. I've been doing that for 20 years. People who get readings from me have profound experiences, almost always. At the very least, people are usually astounded at how accurate the reading is to the situation that they were pondering. So there is a special kind of magic that happens there. And I am very honored to be able to offer that to people. So if you would like to purchase a tarot reading, you can also go to rogueways.org to check that out. That's also done through my PayPal, also as a gift to friends and family. Lots of people who have had good readings have given me some testimonials. You can read a few of them there. And again, it's a very special thing I'm able to offer to people. So hope you check it out if you've ever been interested in tarot, or if you have something going on in your life that's just a little bit harder to deal with or understand, then tarot can definitely offer you some insight. I am going to tell you about some upcoming guests that I have, but I also want to show you that we now have Rogue gear. This is a Rogue Ways mug that you can have. I've got some mint tea here. It's amazing, and I love this cup. So if you want a cup, you can get that. If you want a shirt, you can get a Rogue Ways shirt. I have some stickers. There's sweatshirts on there. There's all kinds of cool stuff. So if you want to buy some Rogue Ways gear and be a fan and support the show, I only get a couple bucks for those things, but everything helps. If you want to just donate to support the show, you can also do that through PayPal, and just note that it's a donation. That is always appreciated. If you find any value in the show and you've enjoyed it for a while, then feel like kicking a few bucks my way. That is definitely helpful, as I don't otherwise make any money from doing this. Upcoming guests. So I have an exciting show on Tuesday at 6 p.m. Mountain Time, same place. That's going to be with Kurt Kallenbach, and he is he's recently on Crow 777. He talks about how we need to reclaim our time in the womb, and that when we give that up, interesting legal things happen, and interesting spiritual implications. So I'm very excited to talk to Kurt. I also have Nathan from Lift the Veil is going to be here on Thursday, so 6 o'clock Mountain Time, same place. If you want to hear me and Nathan chat about some things, then that's going to be a cool show. I forget what I have next Sunday. I feel like there's something else. This is why I have a calendar, because I can't remember anything. Nope, but I do have a panel discussion I'm putting together on the Green Man archetype and entity, and across time and space and personal experiences that some of the people, including me, have had with that archetype. And so that's going to be exciting. That should be probably the following Tuesday, the 14th, that would be. So that's coming up too. Lots of exciting things happening. I'm also putting together something on Subscribestar instead of Patreon. So I'm going to relaunch my Patreon, but move it over to Subscribestar. I'm going to pause right here to say what's up to Austin Beach. What's up, Tucker Carlson Bear. Hey, Michael. And yeah, again, I'm sorry that James True isn't here. He was supposed to be, and I'm not even sure what happened. And he might pop in at any minute, so, that could happen too. But I didn't lead anyone astray. He really was supposed to be here, and he's just not. So I'm taking the opportunity to fill you guys in on a bunch of other stuff that's going on. And so I lost my thought. Oh, Subscribestar. So I'm going to do some Subscribestar stuff, especially if you're going to the event in Pennsylvania in the summer solstice. It's going to be amazing. I'm already over excited about it. It's already better than I had even thought that it could have been. We might have an additional person added to the roster of people who are presenting, but it would be before or after. It'd either be earlier in the day Friday or later in the day Sunday, or both. And that person, I don't know if I should announce the name, because I'm just going to say it. Ross Ben might be offering tours to us, so Ross Ben might get involved now. What's up, Lori? Thanks for stopping in. So yeah, Ross Ben might be added to that, so that's already exciting. And I'm doing some talks with Michael Wan. Michael Wan does the Susquehanna River alchemy investigation, and he's written the book, The Rites of the 40th Parallel, and it's a fascinating topic. If you haven't, check out the interviews with Michael Wan or his site to learn more about it. But he's obviously one of the sort of keynote people there, and one of the highlight of the event basically is that we're going to go tour some of those sacred spots and kind of see what this mystery is all about. So him and I are doing some sort of deeper videos where we investigate, or rather we lay open his investigation more clearly with visuals and stuff. And so I'm going to cut those into little snippets and put those on my Subscribestar for people who want to get deeper into that mystery before we get there. Because if you're coming to that event, you're going to be there, and we're all going to be there together on the summer solstice during an annular eclipse, which is crazy. So it's going to be really amazing. And those videos are going to help me be really prepared for that and to understand the significance of all of it, and also you be really prepared for that. And today I was reflecting with Michael that it's fascinating to me that my whole life has been this sort of synchromystic trail to where I'm at right now, but also, which is also, this event that I'm putting together with you guys. But also that it's been tinged the whole way with a deep hatred for AI and electronics. I'm very grateful to my electronics that they work effectively and efficiently and allow me to communicate with you all. But if you know me, you know that I have a deep hatred for AI. And so it's interesting that Michael's work kind of lays bare some of this, the start of the electronic age and especially computing, and especially AI and its ties to the occult and, demonology and really, really, really long game magical spells. And it's interesting that that's all coming together in this confluence of this event. And so I'm very grateful that you guys will all be there and involved with that, because I'm sure that it'll be something very special. So I'm going to say what's up to Lori. I already said hi, Lori. Hi again, Lori. You deserve 2 hellos. Hi, Steve. Good to see you, Steve. And Chloe. Oh my gosh, Chloe, you're awesome. That's so cool that you're here. I love you too. And I'm sure you look gorgeous. You always do. And so Austin asked, when will my subscribe star be up? Hopefully really, really soon. Hopefully within the next few days. That's my goal. I want to offer a few extra videos there. I want to offer subscribers some maybe access to tarot on a more regular basis if they're long-term subscribers, or things like that. I also do collage art, which I don't show off very often, but I might throw that into the mix as well. So it'll be a whole mix of things that are on there. So yeah, I think I covered kind of all the things that I wanted to as like an intro. Hey Ramsey, good to see you back again. But I wanted to talk to you guys about trauma, because in lieu of James True not being available today, as we had planned, some of the things that I was going to talk about with James if you've read any of James' works, you know basically that it is deeply involved in the idea of trauma and how all of us are traumatized and have been for who knows how long, and how your trauma kind of can really fuck you up and trap you in this kind of evil spell. It is really a tool of enslavement. And if you look at it on a mass scale, on a societal scale, on a world scale, you can see that we've all been traumatized for so long even right now, if you look at, there's, basically threatening us with World War III. Nobody in the world wants World War III. No normal people want that. Every regular person, if you go up to them, they're going to say, no, of course I don't want that. If you just make it smaller than that, you say, do you want war? Nobody really wants war. Psychopaths want war. Sociopaths want war. Sometimes narcissists might want war. People with personality disorder might want war. But regular people, which is most of us, we don't want war. And things like this are always held over us as a threat. If it's not that, it's a threat of like Ebola or, the market crashing or all of these things they use. And sometimes they make it even more poignant by having an event, such as some towers collapsing in a certain city. And that then re-traumatizes us and it refreshes it. And so from then on, the fear programming works even better, because we're all in this acute fear state where the trauma is reborn almost. So you see how this goes on and on throughout history, and how it really turns us into slaves. We're good little slaves when we're afraid. We all go to our jobs every day and we all, slave away, and we do things we don't want to do, and we treat ourselves and each other like garbage because we need to come out ahead and on top because we're afraid that we won't, and that we'll fail, and that we'll die, basically. Rogue Ways mug. So, what's up, Ryan? I told everyone that you won the painting. Yeah, Steve, good point. We're traumatized, not only traumatized, we're abandoned, which is another form of re-traumatizing us, or more deeply traumatizing us, because we feel like we have no one. And I want to come back to that, because that makes you more powerful in the end, really, for everyone that's around you. But like I said, you can see this throughout history over time, over and over again. The elites or the control structure, the government, it's always going to use trauma and fear to control you and to make you act a certain way. And we have very little control over that. We have no control over that, basically. They're just going to keep doing to that. What we do have control about is whether or not we play along. But even personally, as we go through our lives, we all experience personal traumas as well. And this is like not on that mass scale, but just, individually, someone is going to probably hurt us in ways that are profound and deep and unexpected. And that's where trauma comes from. It comes from, not knowing what to expect, basically. So trauma can either come from a repetition of many, many little things over time that made your life so unstable that you could never know what to expect and never feel safe. And that can cause trauma, or it can be an acute thing, which we all understand, I think, a little bit better. Like if you go to war and bombs drop near you, like that could traumatize you, or people die in front of you, that could traumatize you. But it can be simpler too. It can be that, one day your mom came home and she was like, had just gotten fired or something, was angry and like, physically harmed you. That can traumatize you as well. So we all have trauma. We have trauma on a societal level. We have trauma on a historical level. We have trauma on a personal level. And it all is wrapped up within each other, right? But the power that we really have is that this personal trauma that we can know more intimately and that we can understand better, we can find the source of, and we can trace it back, that is actually like the key to this trauma on the macro level, right? Like our personal trauma is something that we can affect and that we can heal, and that affects the macro level. That, it's like as within, so without, as above, so below, as micro, so macro. That's really true. It's not just like a happy, friendly state. Like, what's going on inside of you is actually affecting the whole entire universe. And the whole entire universe is affecting what's inside of you. So this personal trauma you have is key. It's essential. It's something that really, when it comes down to it, you have a responsibility to investigate your trauma and heal your trauma. And that's terrifying. That is the hardest thing that you're ever going to do. Especially if you are somebody, when there's some of us who have had multiple severe traumas, then it gets even more tangly and thick and hard to parse out. So yeah. So I personally have been diagnosed with PTSD, which I think it would be surprising, I think, to a lot of you that you might also have PTSD. And even if you don't have like PTSD, you still have some trauma and you still have the same types of symptoms, just maybe not as acutely or severely. So I had complex PTSD. I always say that with a hesitation because someone told me the C stands for something else, but it's either complex or something else that is similar to complex. And it basically means that I've had multiple experiences in my life that were all deeply traumatizing. And so they kind of built off of one another. And at a certain point in my life, specifically, there was a man trying to break into my house and kill me one day. I can laugh about it now. And that broke me. Like, then I was finally done. Before that, I handled my trauma really well. Most people with PTSD too. You're like a pro at disconnecting from emotion. And this is part of what makes it a good tool for control as well. Because people with trauma, hello, Juana, you'll relate to all of this a lot then. People with trauma are easy to control in many ways. And one of the ways is that you can be a part of emotionally intense moments and events and just not even care, not even be connected to it at all. And this is called disassociation. So before this moment broke me open, when I would have triggers that would remind me and triggers basically bring you back to the moment of trauma. But you don't necessarily, it's a flashback, but it's not like how they show it in movies. It's your brain is firing a bunch of different sensory information at once, and it's very overwhelming. So the way I would respond to those moments is I would disassociate, which is super easy. It makes everything easy. And then part of mine too is that I was very, very hyper-focused, and so it was easy. People were always like, how do you do all of these things? And I'm like, how do you not? Like, I was just always going, and that was distracting for me, and that was part of how I dealt with trauma too. So like Juana says in the chat, you live disassociated, or you live having constant flashbacks and unable to function, which is what happened after the person broke into my house and was trying to kill me. I started having more, I guess, flashbacks, and you're still disassociating. It's hard to describe the difference, but basically somebody would knock on the door and I would like freak out and go hide in the corner and like cry profusely. And that didn't make any sense to me. In my rational mind, I'm like, there's nothing scary about someone knocking at the door. This has happened my whole life. But because of this, my doctor noticed, thank God for good doctors who actually do notice things. Thank you, Steve. It is complex. Thank you. So, okay, so my very good doctor actually noticed, which is rare. Doctors often won't, often don't even know your name hardly. But this doctor did, and she cared a lot, and she pointed it out. She's like, this isn't normal, and you probably have PTSD. I can't diagnose you, but I'll send you to someone who can help you at least, and maybe diagnose you, and if that's what's going on. Rogueways mug. So, what's up, Rogue Cow? What's up, Gordon? I know nobody's ever on D Live. Sorry, D Live. Everyone goes to YouTube. So if you want to chat, go to YouTube. That's where the action's at. And if you're on Facebook, I cannot see your comments. So you would have to come to D Live or YouTube for me to see them. I see them later, but not during the stream. All right. So the doctor noticed. I went to a different professional therapist, and she diagnosed me. She was like, yes, I can't believe you've made it this long without knowing that you had PTSD. And so here's the process, right? And so luckily this doctor practices EMDR, which is eye motion. Maybe somebody wants to look up the actual meaning. I can't remember what it stands for. And this is actually one of the only ways that PTSD can be effectively treated. So caveat to that is that I had also already undergone talk therapy, psychotherapy, not counseling, not just therapy, but specifically psychotherapy previously. And that was a pure stroke of luck because you have to actually undergo that before you can do EMDR for a lot of reasons. And so luckily I had already done that, and that had also changed my life immensely. If you don't have PTSD, but you have issues concerning trauma, do psychotherapy. It's way more effective than any other counseling will ever be. If you've been going to counseling for years and wondering why it's not helping, that's why. Counselors are very helpful in some situations, and they can't always help you with those issues. So I had already done that. I got to this doctor. I had PTSD. She could do EMDR because I had psychotherapy before. And this is the whole point of me telling you all of that, is that I've done, oh, thank you, Gordon. It's eye movement desensitization and reprocessing. That's what it's called. It sounds scary, and some people do not trust it, especially in these kind of circles of like conspiracy and questioning everything. People are like, it's, programming your mind, and they're fucking with you. And I would never have done it if I felt like that in an instant. And also I have the direct experience of it dramatically changing my life. And so I know that it's very helpful. I'm going to say what's up to Courtney, Chansey, DBE Media. What's up, guys? Thanks for being here. I think I said hi to Gordon. What's up, Gordon? So the experience of doing EMDR, the concept of it is that when you're traumatized in that moment, your brain cannot handle the thing that is happening to you. And so it compartmentalizes it almost, or it like scatters it throughout your brain. And instead of processing it as sort of a rational linear memory, you're storing this trauma as an unrelated almost set of sensory data. And so when you have a flashback, what's actually happening is that one of those sensory data is triggered, and it triggers all the rest of them. And you still don't have this rational narrative in your brain. And so you're still just going to relive this chaos of sensory data that's overwhelming. So in EMDR, what the idea is that you'll intentionally go back to the moment of trauma, which no one wants to do. It's very painful. It's not fun. And it's hard work. You go back to that moment and you get as in it as you can get. Like you're like reliving it, you're remembering it. And in that moment, you do the EMDR and your eyes move left to right pretty rapidly. And the idea is that in your eyes moving left to right, you're accessing both your left and your right hemisphere. And at the same time, you're like talking through the fact that you're safe, that you're loved, that you survived, that person back there did the right thing by, sending all this chaos into your brain because that's all you could do at the time to handle it. You just kind of like reassure yourself that everything's good, and your brain actually reprocesses the memory. It puts it back into your brain in a functional, cohesive, rational narrative. It sounds like bullshit. Like it just, when I was being told that this is what I was going to do, I was like, what the fuck ever. I'm going to look at like a moving light and that's going to fix me. Like, fuck off. You know, I'm very skeptical. And so I really didn't believe that it was going to work. And this is an ongoing thing you'll notice with me is when I don't believe things to begin with, and they have to be like proven to me for me to believe them. So I did that therapy. And it worked. It was super effective. I stopped having acute flashbacks. You have to do it a lot, or at least if you have complex PTSD, you have to do it a lot. You have to do it for every single memory. Hey, Reagan, what's up? And you have to do it so many times until you have kind of processed. Usually there's like a root trauma, and for mine it was when I was like 6 years old. And just so no one has to guess about what it was, I had a dentist who tortured me by not giving me Novocaine intentionally, and then drilling on my teeth. The sound is wonky. Did it just start doing that? Or has it been that way the whole time? Huh. That doesn't make any sense. Let me just make sure. Just now, you guys are gonna see me look at my settings then. It should be fine. I don't know what to tell you guys. I hope it goes away. Oh, I don't want it to be weird, monkey. But of course it has to be because nothing can go right. Is it getting any better? Just because we're thinking about it? Not because I've actually changed anything. Because nothing changed, so I don't know what I would change. But there's literally only one mic. Let me try this. Okay, is it better now? I left that 25 people have to watch me do this sound check. No? But can you hear me? Huh. There's only one possible mic that's even picking up sound. And there ain't nothing else. Oh, it is? Okay. Well, let's move on then. All right. I think where I was at was I was just saying, first of all, I'll say hey to Shell. What's up, Shell? And www. The infinite www. And if I haven't said hello to you, I'm sorry. I try to say hi to everyone who's here. Okay, good. I'm glad it's better now. So back to the story. EMDR, I did it. It was better. I was good. Oh, the dentist had been torturing me. Sorry. Yes. There's the reason I went for it, because at first I was like, it was probably just in my head. He probably just forgot Novocaine, or like I just didn't understand or something. But I have met other people since who that same dentist also tortured. So he did intentionally torture me by not using Novocaine and by drilling on my teeth. Almost all of them. They just thought I had really bad teeth. I'm pretty sure that I actually had perfectly fine teeth. He just wanted to drill more on me because he got some sort of sick fetish out of it or something. I don't know, some kind of perversion. But anyway, that was the original trauma that did it. So I kind of have addressed all of those now, and I'm done with EMDR, which is fantastic. And I have a way better ability to deal with emotions and myself and life, and I don't have flashbacks anymore, and it's pretty amazing. I don't have anxiety anymore. I don't have depression anymore. It's all around. All those things were connected to this series of traumas. So personal trauma can be dealt with, whether it's CPTSD or regular PTSD or regular trauma that isn't classified as PTSD. They're all still the same root thing, and they all are enslaving you and controlling you, just like on that micro level, just like you can be controlled and enslaved at this macro level, also through trauma, often through group trauma or trauma through the media and different international sort of games that they play. So you can address that personally, and you can take care of it. So that is a segue into this next thing that will sound like it's not related, but I'm going to tie this all together. Don't worry. Yeah, he was a horrible, horrible person. When he died, I was very happy. And the sick thing is, this is almost always true of really fucking sick, abusive people. He was loved in my community. If I were to bring up that I hate him or that I was glad he was dead, like, so many people would be just appalled, like, what's wrong with her? Because he was a man of stature. Rogueways mug. Yeah, and I'm not sure if he was a Mason. That'd be really interesting to know. Sadly, I think his son is probably pretty fucked up too, but, and now he's a dude in the community, so who knows? But, all right, so in addition, seemingly unrelated, in my life, I've had a few past lives memories come up, and I'm really careful to say that I think that it's kind of rare, but I think that it can be done. I think that you should always be wary if someone else is telling you that they're going to tell you your past life. I think your past life comes through you, to you. I don't think other people can tell you what your past lives were. I think they might be able to in a way. I don't think it'll be a helpful way. I think that when you are supposed to remember it, you will remember it. But guess what? You don't remember past lives for fun. Unfortunately, you're not going to remember a past life and be like, I was a princess and it was so glorious and wonderful. Like, you're going to remember a past life at the moment when the worst trauma happened to you in that life. You're going to remember a past life and it's going to be a horrifying memory and you're going to wish that you didn't remember it. And the reason that you're remembering it at all is because your soul has still not dealt with that ancient trauma. So this is like even more. So like step 1 is recognizing that you're traumatized. And step 2 is dealing with your trauma. And that's hard. Just those are hard. And if that's all you ever do, like, God bless you. That's enough. You don't have to worry about anything past that. But I did remember some past lives, and they're horrifying. Really, really horrifying. I don't even like thinking about them. Like, they're worse than anything that's happened to me in this life. And I hope nothing that bad happens again. But I had some, and I could tell you about them if you would like to hear about them. They're pretty disgusting and horrifying, so I don't know that you want to hear them. They're worse than a dentist torturing a 6-year-old, let's just say that. But if you'd like to hear about it, comment and I'll tell you. I don't mind sharing it. I just don't want to put it on people who don't want to be utterly disgusted. You were a super bitch too, Rogue Cow. That was one of mine, as I was just a horrifying person. I was like, I was such a bitch. I kind of relate to that person because I see aspects of that in myself, especially when I was younger, in this life as well. Okay, so I'm going to tell the horrifying stories. If you don't want to hear horrible things, don't listen for now. The first one I remembered was seemingly in like Western times, probably in the United States. I seemed to be wearing like Western garb. I was sitting in front of a mirror, which was really interesting because I was seeing myself then, but I was knowing myself now. So it was like this weird juxtaposition. And as far as I can tell, my husband came in, and I had been cheating on him with someone, and he had found out, and he cut my throat. And so I died in trauma, which that'll be a frequent one if you do remember. Interesting. You'll often be dying of the trauma that you are remembering or that you're experienced at the time, but not always. So that was really bad. That was a horrifying experience. It then made sense to me why my whole life I've been extremmely sensitive when people touch my neck or go near my neck, especially from behind, because he came up behind me, obviously, to cut my neck. So that made sense. So this is another thing. When you do have past life memories come back, something in your life will make a lot more sense to you. And that was that one. I understood why I had those neck sensitivities. And just like any trauma, once you remember it and heal it and go into it and deal with it, that was gone. I still sometimes, I guess, have like the memory that I used to be sensitive in my neck, so I'll kind of like flinch, but not really. It's basically gone. I don't have that anymore. So yeah, I died. I was murdered. And interestingly, I think also that we come back with the similar people over and over again. And so that person who murdered me in that life, I know in this life, and I know who it is, and I have not told them because it's not their fault that they did that in a past life. It was pretty awful of me to cheat on that person, probably. So, not that I should have been killed, but, anyway. So that trauma I was able to sort of heal and let go of, and therefore I let go of something in this life as well. And this is part of why I'm telling these stories as well, so you can see your trauma goes beyond this life, and you also have to heal the ancestral trauma that you have in order to fully heal yourself now. So that was life one. Another life that I've remembered is not as exciting. It seems to be relatively recently. It's probably the life before this one, and I was just a horrifying, I was a bitch. I controlled this man for, I think, probably years. It felt like a very long time that he had been like my little like slave almost. I treated him like shit. I was very like elitist and snotty, and I was not afraid to use, whatever I wanted to make him do whatever I wanted. And so we were basically like criminals together, and I would make him do all kinds of things. And basically, finally, one day he turned on me and stabbed me literally in the back, and then shoved my head into a really disgusting garbage can, and then proceeded to rape me brutally. And I died at that time as well. The funny thing is, when I remembered that one, reliving that was very horrifying and hard and difficult. But the part that was harder for me was how much of a bitch I was, because I felt really bad, which is maybe good. Maybe that's part of it, is taking responsibility for whatever part you play in things, And I'm going to remind everyone right now that it's very, very normal to have not remembered a past life, and you should not worry about that. But also that if you do, this is most likely what it's going to be like. So that was past life 3. I can't remember what we're at now, and I can't remember which ones I've told, because that's how I am. But I'll tell you the one that is the most disturbing for me, even more disturbing than those, is the one where I was apparently, I am like kind of ignorant about which peoples this would have been, but some Central American tribe, it seems, based on what I know of Central American tribes. And the short version of it, I'll tell you, is that I was, my family and I were somewhere near sort of like the top of the social structure there in a spiritual way, though. My father was like a shaman or whatever that would have been called in that group. And we were tricked into coming to some sort of sacred event that should have been the way that it had always been. But instead, the whole town was corralled, and my father was murdered sacrificially. And everyone in the town, including me, was forced to eat a part of his body. That was actually the most horrible one. And maybe the oldest, although I don't know how I feel about like how old our souls are and how long this has been going on, and how far back, I'm not sure. It's definitely the oldest one that I've remembered. And the most difficult, because eating human flesh is worse than being raped or murdered. That's how it feels energetically. Not that I want any of those things to happen at all. I don't really want to like rank traumas, but it was pretty bad. And my sister and I became homeless, and we kind of wandered around for years. So that one was really bad as well. Yeah, they were really intense. Lloyd Tucker Carlson Bear asked, do you think you ever pass on or just keep reincarnating? That's like, we could do a whole show about that. I don't think you have to keep reincarnating. I think that what karma basically is this sort of trauma and darkness that enslaves you and forces you to keep going in this illusion that we're in until you can process it and let go of it and move on, and then also build yourself as however you want to describe that, like like bodhisattva or Christ consciousness, or kind of a higher experience of living and of consciousness than you currently or have felt in the past. I think you have to go through all your trauma to get there, though. I don't think you can shortcut that or bypass that. I'll rewind a little bit, because I actually think you can, and I think that that's sort of like the dark path or whatever. And I think that's where a lot of bullshit comes from. I think that's where a lot of evil comes from, and I think you should avoid it at all costs. It's way more productive and good to just go through your trauma. There's nothing that you can't face. So if I can go back in time and release the trauma of eating my own father in the past life, being forced to, I think that we can do anything. And good question. DB asked, what state of mind was I in when I had these flashbacks, dream state, drugs, meditation? No drugs. Some of them were in meditation, really, really deep meditation, from, I don't have the right words to describe it, transcendental meditation, perhaps. And then some of them are in dreams, but I've talked about this before on my show when we had the panel discussion on dreams and consciousness, that I have normal dreams where it's just like, shit that you experience in the day and your brain's just sort of processing it. And I have sort of power dreams that are like visions and very symbolic. And that's sort of like that's its own realm, I think. And I've had astral travel where it's like, it's this realm, but it's in dream state. And then I've had these, which are just like being alive. They're basically like lucid dreaming, but in a past life. And so you can kind of then discount them all because they all happened in, almost altered states. But to me, you can experience, when you're having dreams, you're you, right? And when you're having dreams and you're you, but you're like in a different body, but you're you still, and now it's also as vivid and lucid as this life, then I think that's part of how you kind of know the difference between just like a dream and past life regression. But I think you just know. If you experience it and you're like, oh yeah, that happened to me, then it did. Like, you'll feel it in your gut and you'll know that it's true, and that it wasn't just a dream. So, so all of those directly relate to some traumas that I have in this life currently. And I know that I'm not done yet. And that I have more trauma from past lives to process. And so what's been very interesting lately, I'm going to pause there again. Steve says, maybe trauma keeps you remembering and you're so much in the past that you can't be present enough to make a spiritual leap. I think that's a very good way to put it, Steve. I think that's basically it. Because like, it's like all the greatest teachers always say, like, right now and right here and right now is the present moment, is all that there is. And if you're truly present in this moment right here, right now, like, you'd be like ascended or whatever. Like, there is nothing else. And so this is all sort of an illusion. And I think if you're stuck in the past like that, you don't even know it. It's like this dark thread that keeps you tied to it. Again, it's like a form of enslavement. You're not free if you're in trauma, and if you haven't let go of your trauma and released your trauma. And you can't just like let go of it by being like, oh, I let go of that, I'm done now. It's an actual process that you actually have to do. And I think this is what people mean. For me, it's a lot of what people mean when they say that you have to go through like the dark night of the soul to come out the other side. You really do have to go into the darkest parts of yourself and bring light there. And you really have to bring also your consciousness there. To really be present in it and to remind that person in the moment that they were living it, which is you then, right? That you are safe and okay and that you're loved and that you're beautiful. You have to bring all of that energy into that moment and sort of like burn away the trauma. So So yeah, all of those directly relate to traumas that you experience in your life today, or not even traumas necessarily, but like that neck sensitivity, or like the fact that I was sort of an elitist bitch for many years. And then I hopefully learned my lesson to not just use people to my advantage. And I'm not sure what I learned from the eating my father part, except that there's great deep evil on this planet, and it knows who to target and take out often. But what's up, Devo88? I think everyone's doing well. It's good to see you here. Most people are over on YouTube if you want to go chat with people. All right, so the point of all that, one more thing that seems unrelated but isn't. A long time ago was having a massage, just a regular, massage from a friend of mine, actually. He was practicing because he was becoming a massage therapist. And I got this like very strong, clog in my throat. It like felt like I was gonna like cry, but I wasn't actually feeling emotional like I was gonna cry, but it's that same sort of like feeling where it's like stuck in your throat. And I told him, I was like, it's so weird, my throat is like fucked up right now. And he's like, oh yeah, I'm working on it. But he wasn't touching me. And I was like, what do you mean you're working on it? And he's like, oh, I'm doing Reiki on your throat chakra. And I was like, what the fuck is Reiki? And this is how I learned that Reiki is a thing, and that it's real, and that it actually affects you, because I didn't even know it was happening, and it was affecting me. So that was the start of my Reiki experience. I've since had experience, even from a distance, from Reiki practitioners who are really adept at moving energy around your body and sensing sort of like tension and troubles and issues that you wouldn't otherwise see. And it's pretty amazing. And there's a lot, like anything, there's a lot of bullshit. There's a lot of people who are like, I'm a Reiki practitioner, and they're just bullshit. They're just people who like learned a symbol and like think that they're doing something, which maybe is the start of it. Maybe I shouldn't poo-poo that. Maybe you have to like do that and practice it enough and think about it enough to where you can actually be effective. I don't know. Some people are gifted as fuck though, and I've experienced that as well. So, good question. Brett, no, you did not. I didn't look the same in my past lives at all. I looked very different. Weirdly, I was a girl in all of those. I'm sure I've been a man before. I have to have been, but I was female in all of the stories that I just told you. But I looked very different than I do now, especially the one when I was in the Central America. So very dark skinned and dark haired, but yeah, so Reiki is a thing. It works. It can be. And so when someone recently I was talking to, who I respect deeply, who is incredibly intelligent, who I really want to come on Rogue Ways, and I hope I get to bring you guys this person. They're amazing. This person and I have been talking on the phone, and he wanted to do a past life regression. And I was like, that's bullshit. Like, I've already remembered, a lot of past lives, and why would I need a past life regression? And, like what would be the point of that? And I just kind of was resistant to it, but I was also very intrigued because this person is so intelligent and incredibly accomplished. And I was kind of like, this person does past life regression. Like I was like intrigued, and I wanted to try it to see what it was like, but I also was like, there is no point in this, for obvious reasons. So, I didn't want to do it. I was resistant. I finally was like, okay, I'll just try it. Like, what can't hurt anything? Like, whatever. And so I finally did it last night, and I'm on day 4 of a master cleanse right now. Which, if you know anything about a master cleanse, day 4 is when you kind of are just getting over the hump of like it being just like toxins flooding you, and you feeling like shit, and you're, starting to feel like the bliss. But I started to feel that yesterday a little bit early, so I'm kind of in day 2 of bliss mode and clear mind and whatever. So we're talking last night, and I'm in this like very relaxed, very like cleansed state of almost bliss and clarity. And I realized that what this person meant by past life regression was not what you would expect. It's not like the movies, and it's not like these kind of cheesy hokum artists who want to like tell you that you were an Egyptian princess or whatever. It was like Reiki. This person was just doing like Reiki on me, but their version of this Reiki was actually tapping into like the deepest traumas which are stored in your body. They're stored in your energetic body, in your consciousness, but it manifests in your physical body. I mean, your physical body is a manifestation of consciousness and energy, so it makes sense that this would be how stored trauma would work. And so he started working, step by step through my body. He's in another state, like 4 states away, but he's working like step by step through my body. And I could tell which body part he was on without him even telling me. So he clearly was skilled. And when he'd get to an area where I would feel like a tension and he'd say, ooh, there's a tension there. Like it was very, very intense and very real. And that's when I learned that there's plenty of trauma from past lives that I haven't even begun to unwind yet. And we did begin last night, and there was trauma accessed and there was trauma released. And I was turned into a believer from a skeptic, which is what always happens. I always start out being like, this is bullshit. And then something happens that I can't really refute. And I'm like, oh, that was real. And again, I always have to stress, most of the people who are going to say that they're doing this or can do this are full of shit. They're just lying to you and they want your money. And this person wants no money from me, which is also a clue. It's not, I mean, people deserve money. I want to give him money. He won't take it. People deserve money for their skills and their talents. But if someone's like trying to get you to do it and wants your money, and they're like, that's a sign maybe that you should question that. So yeah, it was like, this was like a Reiki version of EMDR for your past lives. And so now I'm like, this is like an even deeper level than what I've already done before. So and it was interesting because I was supposed to talk to James True tonight, and he has a lot of insight about trauma as a collective, as a society, and how it's ruined our world. We're in this state right now because we're all traumatized and we're just like puppets on a string, and they can just pluck us and make us do whatever they want. And we do it for centuries, and we've been doing it for centuries. And he has this refrain in his book, and he says, we need to wake up now. It's time to wake up. And it's true. We do need to wake up now, and it is time to wake up. And it starts with you right here, right now, recognizing that you're traumatized. You've been traumatized your whole life, and you've been traumatized for multiple lifetimes, and none of it has gone anywhere, and you're carrying it around with you. And every one of your traumas is like a little access point into you to control you, whether at a personal level or societal level, because they're interrelated. As above, so below, as within, so without. It's not just like a thing on a yoga shirt. It's like a real manifestation that's actually happening in our world. And so all of us have to do that. We have to work on that, and we have to be aware of it. We have to actually do that hard work. It's hard work. And that comes back to what Steve said earlier. Steve, you said that we are traumatized and abandoned, and we are traumatized and abandoned. And so you not only have a responsibility to recognize your own trauma and work on it, but you have a responsibility to help other people also get through it, because we can't do it alone, and we've been abandoned. And we need each other, right? We can't do this alone. So you also got to help other people. And that is what I wanted to talk to you guys about tonight. I'm going to see if there's any questions from you guys in the past few bits that I can see. I think I already answered some of them. I am doing a practice. I have a practice that I do every day. I think everyone could benefit from a practice they do every day, no matter what it is. It's, just to keep you mindful of what you want in your life. It's really, 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 really easy to get distracted and fall off your path. I don't think you ever fall off your path, but you know what I mean? Like, kind of fall off what you were intending to do and who you were intending to be. So if you have a daily practice, it helps keep you centered in that. And it also is a nice time, depending on what your practice is, to check in with yourself, because part of our trauma is that a lot of us don't live in our body. We live in our head. and we never check in with our body, and it's so bad for us. If you can like literally just put your mind in any part of your body and just be there for a second, you can like feel some sort of tension and you can sort of just let it go, and it's amazing. If you've never done it, you can try it like right after this or even right now, like close your eyes and just chill with it. It's very, very effective. But we're not in our body. So daily practice can keep you kind of rooted in that and moving forward. And honestly, I think it keeps you more mindful and, sort of these synchronicities that can come along and push us towards our direction. I think you notice them more easily when you're in the moment, you're sort of centered in your body, you're present, which is impossible to do if you're in trauma and if you're in like fear mode, which is what they want to keep us from, right? We're so powerful when we're in ourselves, in our moment, in our bodies and present and conscious. It is very empowering to see what trauma we can live through and still be whole and good. I hate it. I don't want anyone to experience any trauma. I think it's awful. But when I think about it, you think about like the most evil people and the most evil things they're doing, they have to be doing it out of trauma too. Right? Like most of these people are also traumatized and controlled. And that's another thing that James True does a really good job of. And whenever he comes back on Rogue, you'll hopefully hear more about it. But he does a really good job of showing that a lot of these elite, especially the ones that we can see easily, they're mind controlled. They're traumatized out of their freaking skull and they don't have a choice anymore. They don't even know who they are. I'm not saying we should just like forgive all their horrors, but at some level, they're going to have to eventually deal with their trauma too. And they're going to need like some love and some grace to do that. And I don't know that I'm big enough to give it to them, but somebody's going to have to. But it is empowering. Brett asks, are our traumas written in the Akashic records? Can we see other people's records or just our own? I'm going to like my honest experience of the Akashic records and similar types of experience. There's no lie there, and there's nothing that can't be known within the bounds that it's what you're capable of accessing. So if you're capable of accessing it, it's going to be safe with you. And so, yes, I think you can access anybody's. And honestly, I think that anybody can give you access as well, especially if you're like, doing Reiki or something like that, then you have direct access to someone's trauma. So I think that is true. And I think I'm all caught up with the questions. But we've got at least 28 people out there. If you guys have any other questions that you want to ask before I call it, I'm going to look back at my notes. Ooh. The coolest, I'll just tell you this to cap it off. The coolest part for me was after we did a lot of the Reiki trauma, past life sort of trauma release session last night, was that I had a sort of vision when we were working on my pineal gland of crocodile that was wrapped around a pearl, and the crocodile sort of like was like angry and it was like gonna get me, and then it sort of like was like I guess not, and like kind of went away. And I took that to mean that I had sort of gotten through a lot of, or maybe all of my that reptile brain like fear programming, like trauma conditioning, to sort of access my like true self. Right? That's what it felt like. But I don't think I'm actually done dealing with all my trauma, but maybe that's sort of the like prize at the end of the tunnel. But well, thank you, Jay. Thanks for coming along. Nice to have you here. I know what you mean. There is a lot of like love and light woo-woo bullshit. That's exactly why I'm a very skeptical person. There's a lot of snake oil people out there, whatever you want to call it. There's a lot of people who are just like honestly like deluded, or I don't want to say deluded. It's not like they're crazy. It's that there's like so much disinformation and bullshit, and there's so many ego trips along the way. traps, I should say, along the way to truth that it's really, really easy. For example, if you're about to like delve into your trauma and someone's like, oh, all you have to do is put this crystal on your face and then your trauma goes away. You're like, fuck yeah, that's way easier. I'm just going to do that. And then you tell yourself like, I released my trauma. I put a crystal on my head. And I'm not saying you shouldn't put crystals on your head either, because their crystals are actually really fascinating, and scientifically and realistically, they actually have properties that are very powerful. But you can't, there's usually not an easy way out. As my dad taught me, it's true. It's always been true. If it's easy, it's probably the wrong way. Peace of mind is right, Gordon. That is maybe the pearl that I saw. The interesting thing happened to me a few years back where I love to tell this horrifying story. I had just gotten back from Bahrain and there was bombs exploding in Bahrain and it was terrifying and scary. And I ran away from Bahrain because I thought I might get killed by a bomb there. So that's another one of the traumas that I had to deal with. But I got back to Washington State, where I'm from and where I love. And it's like wet and rich and like dense and beautiful, and Mount Rainier is there, and it was fantastic. And I was explaining to someone, I was like, I'm so tired. I'm just tired all the time. And they were like, wow, are you like, you know, like, I don't know, are you getting enough sleep? And they're like going through this list of things. And I'm like, no, it's none of that. I'm just like tired. And they're like, well, is it like this and this and this? And I'm like, no, man, I'm just like tired every day, all day. And they're like, that's really weird. And then we just sat for a few minutes and someone said, do you think you're just relaxed? And I was like, holy shit. I really am just relaxed. I just didn't know what relaxation was until this moment. I've never felt it before that moment. And it was like stunning realization. I was like, my life is pretty fucked up if I'm like 32 and I've never relaxed in my life. Whew. I've relaxed a lot since then. I've relaxed a lot, especially recently. Always take time to relax. I really hope that the crocodile didn't eat James True. I'm really kind of worried because he's never been late to anything that we've done, and he's never been not in communication. So I hope he's okay. I think he's okay. Let's just say he's okay, and that we'll do this show again another time, and that it's been fun to chat for an hour. I just talked to you guys for an hour. What the hell? Trey. Hey, what's up, Trey? Nice to see you. Trey says, I've done some research on Reiki with dogs. I've heard that you can do Reiki with animals. I don't see why not. I've had zero success. My wife seems to be able to naturally dial in with almost no effort. Oh, you're actually trying to do the Reiki. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I would guess that you have to like practice a lot and be pretty in touch with the spiritual, etheric, or however you want to describe that, the energetic sort of world to be able to do that well. And I hate to say this, but I bet that it comes more naturally to women. Just saying. I could be wrong. The person who did it with me last night was a guy, so clearly you can be incredibly skilled and be a man, and I'm probably just biased, but all right. I guess I have not much else to say to you guys, so I'm just going to remind you, Rogueways gear, the cup, the mug. I wish I could show you the sweatshirt, but somebody's wearing it right now. The shirt, Rogueways shirt. What else is on there? There's laptop cases, there's iPhone cases, there's Android phone cases, there's just all kinds of shit. There's a baby onesie. I like that one. That one's my favorite. And I'm doing this kind of sale on the book, Sine Curve of Aeons, if you want to read a fictional novel about alternate history / science fiction / fantasy / romance. Not really romance. I should stop saying that. Then you might enjoy this book. It's inspired by and involves a lot of the themes that I talk about on the show, such as past lives and the spiritual realm and all of that. So $15 if you donate to my PayPal with a little note that says that it's for the book. If you can't figure out the note, that's fine. We'll be in contact because I'll email you and ask you what it was for. $15 gets it shipped to you anywhere in the United States, and you will get an inscription and some Rogueways stickers. which if you're like me, you can put them on your bottle and they look hella cool in the light. You can't see it on camera. I'm sorry. You have to see it in real life. Windows and bottles is where the stickers look the best. So you get stickers in the book for $15 shipped to you flat, no taxes, no shipping. So it's cheaper than Amazon by I think at least like $5. So it's like $5 off sort of. So do that if you want a copy of the book. I'll love to send you that. And there was one more thing, wasn't there? Tarot readings. I do tarot readings. Very, very honored to be able to offer that to people. I would have been doing it my whole life, except I didn't know that I could do it from a distance. And now I know that I can do it from any distance. So if you also would like to go to my PayPal and donate $20 for like a 4-card reading, which is pretty short. It's usually about 20 minutes. I do $60 for a 10-card reading, which is much more in depth. It usually lasts about an hour. Anybody who's had tarot readings from me will say and knows that they're pretty always accurate, often profound, and always helpful. So if you have something that you would like more insight on or clarification or just to kind of probe into deeper, then definitely check out that. You can do all of that at paypal.me/Corey Sharman, QUORRISCHARMYN, and you can get the Rogue gear at rogueways.org. It's actually all there in one spot, so if you want to do any of those things, you can go do it there. And I'm going to check real quick again before I cast off. Oh, thank you so much, Trey, for the super chat. I appreciate it. I appreciate it very much, and unfortunately, I'll tell you guys, YouTube takes some money from that. I don't know why. I don't know how. They're assholes. So if you want to give me money straight to PayPal, that is the most effective way to donate. But I appreciate your super chat immensely. Thank you for supporting the show. I do this all for free, basically, unless you decide that you find value in it and want to share some value back, which I deeply appreciate. And I especially appreciate doing it through tarot readings and book offerings, because that's also fun, and through Rogue Gear. So those are all the ways that you can support me and the show. And awesome. James will hopefully be back soon on an upcoming episode, maybe next Sunday, since I have that open for now. And otherwise, catch me on Tuesday with Kurt Kallenbach and on Thursday with Nathan of Lift the Veil. Those are going to be some 2 pretty awesome shows as well. And otherwise, until you remember your past lives and dissolve all of your trauma, remember to chill out. It's going to be okay. You don't have to do it in a rush. Nothing is pressing you. It will all happen in perfect time, just as it's meant to. And travel well, aim for balance, and always look inside first. Mwah.
It's a one-on-one lesson, so do your homework. Make your dome hurt while up on earth. My bones are blessed from holy dirt. Vibes manifested to words that told me search for verbs and adjectives to describe birth. Worth more than one can speak, while the tongue feeds a weak, a sour taste in your mouth, bittersweet. Words can also kill you when you sleep. Mind condition, low frequencies while the subconscious mind listens. I can tell a vision filled with lies, disguised as truth, and spread it like the word to the youth. Watch the tube. A place where the God gets food is sorcery. To recreate a God forgery does more than meets the eye. Not too many know. Just hear me flow like the eye of Horus Henio. Yeah, not ready to leave until we believe we're free to go. You hear me? Run.
From the ether, the material will eat ya. Stuck on this plane, lanes use jet fuel to greet ya. The dimensional 3 ain't meeting me on top of the 4th. Didn't climb Jacob's ladder to squab with a sword. Forge with Yggdrasil, branch down. Try quiet your lamps now. Ascension past the matter. Let they slam out they damn mouths. We ain't on land now, but what they under, over, understand. Sacrificing wisdom, hoarding dumber, kosher, wicked hands. Putting faith in worthless worship of the mortals. Artificial portals, mass ingestion of the black goo, bioengineered morsels. Conversing with machine elves, bypassing maggots. They stuck on Android screens now. I'm scrolling emerald tablets. Moloch living lavish, off the backs of the savage. Them clasp hands at the Sabbath, smack of energy damage. They done twisted the tongues, but nanotech in the lungs. The awakening's begun. All they really can do is fucking
run.